Welcome, folks, to another episode of the theme streams. We're up to 54. The month of September is Kaiju Profiles, and we are doing Godzilla and other Kaiju in the Godzilla universes. And I do say universes because there's the Monsterverse and the Tohoverse. So, with that out of the way, I got a lot of overlays for you all to go over. But before I get started, I do want to say hello to the chat. There's Vanya in the chat, and there's others that will most likely be showing up. So, another thing before I get started, if you want to support my channel, if you want to help my channel grow, only 3 things you need to do. They're absolutely free. All you have to do is hit that like button, smash the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn on notifications, and also share the streams out, share the content out, share the channel's link out onto your social medias, and that will help the channel grow. I do not do this for money. I am not getting paid for this. So yeah, that's how I want to do it. I want to be informative and entertaining for you all, give you guys insight, and also entertain you while I inform you about certain things like today's topic of Kaiju from the Godzilla universes. So with that out of the way, yeah, he is actually Godzilla is my favorite kaiju. He's tied with Kong actually because I grew up with Kong and Godzilla at the same time before I even saw them fight together or fight against each other. In the Godzilla unit or in the Godzilla Toho universe. But yeah, they are indeed both my favorites, and Kong is coming next week, and I will show off some Kong kaiju and whatnot that he has fought and other things as well. But we are starting today with the big guy, Big G. And let me pull this up. Those are banners. Whoops. And have that on the ticker. So now let's get the brand. So starting with the OG, meaning 1954 Gojira. Now, I saw the 56th American version with Raymond Burr, and that got me hooked. And I didn't see the original 1954 Gojira until 2016, which was 60 years later from the first Godzilla movie. So 62 years later from 54. So yeah, I didn't see the original until like 2014, 15 or 16, one of the two. I think it was 15 or 14 or 15. So yeah, 60 years later. But I've always been a fan of Godzilla. I have seen the other movies. I had never seen the pure 54 Gojira. And as I was discussing this on Monday Night Rants last night, I was recently watching the digital version of 1954 Gojira. And from what I understand, from I think what they put at the end was that the original negatives of the film for Gojira were destroyed in the making of the digital conversion. So the physical copies, folks, if you have physical copies of 1954 Gojira, cherish it. Cherish it. Because, the original negatives, the original film doesn't exist anymore. They have copies, obviously, most likely, but the original that was filmed by the original director in them doesn't exist. It was destroyed in making the digital version, which the digital version has flaws and all. The daughter of the scientist stand up to go to leave, but then cuts right back to her sitting down really quick. You could definitely tell there was some flaws. The next one that I saw was, or when I was younger, I saw Mechagodzilla. or Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla, with the horrifying Planet of the Apes looking alien people, which was kind of weird. They all looked like Planet of the Apes when they died. And you also had Godzilla smacking around Anguirus, killing him. And it's like, whoa, dude, Anguirus is your friend, man. What the fuck you doing? So then you find out it's not Godzilla because, well, Godzilla doesn't have shiny metal underneath his skin. I mean, I've seen almost all of the Toho stuff. I have not, or there are a few of them that I haven't seen. I believe Godzilla versus Hedorah, Godzilla versus, or a couple others, the giant lobster one, the one where he also fights with Jet Jaguar. I have seen other ones though. I recently saw earlier this year, for the first time, Godzilla versus Biollante, and it was all right. I enjoyed what they were trying to do. It's just that it was kind of hokey a little bit, but also fun to watch. Now, the Millennium series of Godzilla was all, or I saw those while I was younger. Space Godzilla as well. But when I finally saw the Godzilla versus Destroya, in which this version of Godzilla, and then turning into a burning Godzilla, damn, man. When I saw him coming out looking all burnt and shit, it's like, holy shit, this dude is freaking smoking. And you see how Destroya comes in and just starts wrecking Godzilla's shit, even as burning Godzilla. It's like, damn, dude, this is not a version to mess with. Now, I am going only to be showing my favorite versions of Godzilla. Godzilla versus the Sea Monster was my first entry. I'm very fond of Titra Studios dubbed version. Nice. Saw Godzilla 2000 in the theater. I was happy. Nice. And hello to Alex Kogan. Oh, jeez. But yeah, going back into it, Godzilla versus Destroya or Destroya. I thought it was a great movie. Yes, they have the whole psychics trying to talk with the little Godzilla and whatnot, and you see Godzilla Jr., which you think is dead in the movie, but then it turns out as they're freezing Godzilla as he's getting ready to detonate until he only just simply has a meltdown instead. Then you see his son absorbing all of the radiation that he had taken in, which essentially would create or help that one grow a lot more and a lot quicker. But that was the end of that era. I believe it was the Heisei era and moving into the Millennium era. But we then go to one of my next favorite versions, which is Shin Godzilla. Now, Shin, I hear that they are doing that they have done a black and white version of this movie. I really want to see it. I really want to see the black and white version of Shin Godzilla. I hear that they have it somewhere, but I'm hoping it does eventually come to digital so I could check it out. Because D-Man 1954, great channel that covers Godzilla stuff, he gave his thoughts on it, and it's like, dude, I did not know that they made a black and white version. I got to check that out, you know? And so I definitely want to see. But man, when I saw this movie, and I'm like, well, that's a pretty cool guy in a costume and whatnot. When we saw Gojira, this version of him walking into or coming out of Sagami Bay, and it's like, that is a pretty good version, or that is a pretty good suit. Until I learned from special features and stuff, that ain't a suit. And I'm like, you're telling me that's not a suit? No, that's not a suit. And I'm like, that's CGI? Yeah, that's mocap CGI. That tail's not real? No, that tail's not real. This is 2016, 2017? Yeah, that shit's better than Hollywood. I mean, I was looking at all of this and saying to myself, holy crap, man, Shin Godzilla's CGI effects were better than anything I have ever seen in a Hollywood movie in or from 2000 to now. Their digital effects were tight. No joke. Now there are a couple scenes that are more motion capture, so you know that those are or that those look a little bit different and whatnot. But yes, there are other scenes that you can definitely tell are very much to the point of CGI. But for the most part, man, when you're seeing cars going by down the road looking upward at Godzilla walking by, it's like that looks so freaking real. That shot of the tail whooshing over the or waving over the people's heads, that looks real. I thought that was a puppetry insertion or an insert shot with the puppetry, but it wasn't. Wish they didn't cut out the bits where Burning Godzilla holds down Destroy It and it gets destroyed by both him and the freezer weapons. Oh, didn't know that was a version, or didn't know that was in there. Because I see the American dubbed versions. I fully admit I do, because as much as I do like the Japanese dubs in some of them, I do sometimes like to see the American versions. However, when it comes to -1, which I will get to later, I like purely the Japanese version. I can't stand the English dub that Netflix did because Netflix, in my opinion, ruined the poignancy of the ending by making Shikishima's girlfriend less likey or less appealing. But getting back to Shin, that movie, from what I understand, was made specifically, folks, specifically to taunt the Japanese government. It was like, look at all this fucking red tape we have to continuously go through just to get any sort of shit done, you know? It's like, this is the crap that we go through for people. If there's any sort of thing, we got like 30 freaking meetings for any sort of happening. Blood in the Bay, 25 meetings. Tail coming out of the bay. Okay, that's another 10 to 12 meetings. I mean, it just goes on and on. And then when I love it, you see Kamada-kun, I believe, was the first one with body and coming up onto the land and whatnot. And you see him crawling around and blood coming out of his gills, the boiling blood coming out of his gills and stuff. And I wish that I had the ability to do all sorts of cool editing, because I would add my own dialogue to it. Like, I would actually be speaking in place of Kamada-kun, being like, existence is pain. Oh my God, this hurts so much. I can't stop the bleeding. Oh my God, make it stop. Oh wait, what am I? What? Whoa. Okay, now I can finally freaking walk a little bit better. Oh, thank God. Wait, my back's on fire. And then just runs to the ocean. Oh my God, I could do so much with that. I just don't have the capability to do it. But yeah, then he shows up like this, freaking coming in, and it's like, surprise, motherfuckers. I'm coming in to wreck your shit. And he does. I mean, he goes full Mace Windu purple lightsaber smacking the entire town of Tokyo. But I love how this version of Godzilla is highly adaptive. I mean, everybody talks about the regenerative capability of him. Sure, yeah. But this version was highly adaptive and regenerative. There were concepts of this dude growing flight capability if he had continued. I mean, yes, he would have also evolved into the committee that he was that was sprouting from his tail after he got frozen. But it's like, oh damn, you know? And then you see, and it's like it took a committee to stop Godzilla, so he would turn into a committee to attack those who attacked him. And you'd have all these single-eyed motherfucking little Godzilla people running around Tokyo, completely taking over the joint, killing everybody. And then most likely regressing back into that other Godzilla so he could evolve further into something else, which would have been nuts. Now, the question is, they wanted to try to nuke Godzilla in this movie. Would a nuke have been able to stop this thing? Because as they were dropping bombs over him, he had the eye slits next to his, or the nictating lens go over his eyes as soon as the bombs tapped him. And it's like, oh damn. This dude has a very rapid micro adaptations that he goes through. And when you see him get hit with the bunker busters on his back, where you just see a bunch of blood just gout out of his back, it's like, holy crap, man, they went horror movie level on this. And so I absolutely loved it. Now, then we get a lot of people are like, he has atomic breath coming out of his back. It's actually a common misconception not supported by facts. Those are called ion lasers, not atomic breath. Now, the one that came out of his tail was atomic breath, because if you look at his atomic breath, when it goes from black fog to flame to refining into the atomic purple beam, and then you see the one coming out of the tail, which is an atomic purple beam that also peters out and flames out like his atomic breath does. You notice that it's atomic breath from the tail as well as the mouth. However, the stuff in the beams, they flicker out, the ones that were coming out of his back. So those are actually ionic beams, not atomic breath. And then you have, or after that, Netflix decide, oh, there's a cut scene where Shin was supposed to barf up a stream of blood. Yeah, all around him when he turns upright. My existence is pain, indeed. Yeah, right? I mean, that dude just, they deemed it so gross that they really couldn't do that kind of scene. So it's like, oh, damn. Because his blood would have been boiling, and anybody in the vicinity would have been boiled alive and boiling blood. So it's like, yeah, I don't think you want to go that direction. But then we get this guy in the Netflix series, Godzilla Earth. And I'm thinking to myself, you see when the people are leaving Earth, then they have to come back and they still see Godzilla is still the same Godzilla size and whatnot. And you think, oh my God, they can finally kill Godzilla with the two alien groups with them and whatnot. And then, I mean, the first movie had the best freaking twist. Then this motherfucker comes out of the mountain, or was basically just a mountain standing by. His son comes out, wrecks them with not atomic breath, but simply with a roar. The sheer power of his roar blasted a ship out of the air. And then it sweeps his tail, which he was getting ready to do in this scene, sweeps his tail and destroys all the other groups. And it's like, oh, fuck me, man. And Earth had evolved around Godzilla and shaped from was basically shaped from Godzilla due to him basically being the dominant on the planet. He was destroying all the other kaiju and claimed dominance. And then you got the freaking white-skinned, white-haired aliens. I can't remember their name because the other ones were the Billa Saludo. And then you have the other ones who worship Ghidorah, and it's like, nothing good can come from this. The oscillation roar from Godzilla Earth is something I'd like to see come back. Yeah, man, because you're dealing with something so massive that merely its roar is enough to kill or is enough to take out a ship. It's like, boom, and it's like, oh shit. I mean, essentially, it is kind of like Black Bolt from Marvel. I mean, just the mere roar was enough to crash that ship. And then in the second one, you think this dude is all big and bad and whatnot. Well, they're starting to stop him. They're starting to get better at getting him or possibly trapping him. And, well, then he shows another side of himself. And it's like, oh, shit, we got another burning version of Godzilla. A Scarlet Godzilla, as they call it in this one. And I'm like, dear Lord. This dude's heating up his body to the point where he's literally melting everything around him. Godzilla is literally a perfect organism. Everybody's like, oh, the xenomorph is the perfect organism. I wouldn't want to see a xenomorph, or if I ever saw a face hugger manage to get a thing in Godzilla and have a Godzilla xenomorph, dear Lord, I would hate to see what comes out of that abomination. But yeah, when Scarlet Godzilla and he just starts blasting everything, then in the next one he tries going Scarlet, but the Ghidorah spaghetti noodles get on him and don't work until they kill what's his name, because he's the key to Ghidorah being in the realm. I do kind of like the fact that Ghidorah in the Godzilla Earth trilogy can manipulate time and space when he's close by, because the people were realizing that there's no life signs even on the bridge, and yet they're still alive to report that there's no life signs on the bridge, even though they're the ones on the bridge, and they're saying there's no life signs on the bridge. It's as if the thing was essentially saying, the future or time, or you haven't caught up with time yet. Time for you to do so. And then we get the Monsterverse. I mean, we got the Monsterverse 2014. Now, you get the base form and the 54 form from the Monarch series. I don't like that. The 54 the 54 sequence from the Monarch series really damaged the continuity lore from Operation Lucky Dragon, which was the operation that we saw in the beginning of Godzilla 2014, where you saw him rising up and the nuke goes off in his face. And he was a lot bigger than what they had him coming up to in the 54 version, where he's just walking up to it like, what's this little fucking thing? Boom! I'm like, oh. Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't like that. It's like, that does kind of damage the continuity. And I'm so sick of continuity not being respected in these shows. You got to have some form of continuity. At least when they did the other versions, like when they did 2014 to King of the Monsters, they explain, at least with another medium, a comic of why his fins are different. And then you get GVK, which he's bigger, and even more irradiated. Now, they shouldn't go to the or GVK to burning does not work because KOTM is then burning, then GVK, because burning or Fire Godzilla or Burning Godzilla was in King of the Monsters. Now, that burning version, I wish they had. As much as I like King of the Monsters, folks, as much as I like King of the Monsters, they really screwed the pooch with the marketing. They showed all the sweet spots, all the cool shit before the movie even came out. And that's why it didn't perform as well as it could have in the box office. I went to watch the movie 8 times, 8 freaking times at the theater during its run because I wanted to see it multiple times. I saved up for the previous month so I could have enough money to go to the theaters to watch it 8 freaking times. And I really didn't like the fact that they pushed that shit, you know, where it's like enough with showing us all the cool things in the movie. We don't want to, or don't you think that Lightning Ghidorah blasting lightning out from every orifice of his ass and body and wings and whatnot, don't you think that should have been left for the movie? Instead, you put it in the marketing. You kind of ruined the experience, you know? And then they get Godzilla versus Kong. And it's like, you guys are doing it again, showing all the fucking sweet spots, and you're not freaking, Then they show, or they tease Mecha Godzilla, and it's like, stop. That's the problem with Warner Brothers and Legendary. They suck at marketing, folks. They absolutely suck at marketing. When revealing then GXK comes along and it's like, again, ruining all the great things. You're showing Shimo, teasing Shimo. You fucking teased, or you showed Mothra. What the fuck is wrong with you all? But in this mega version, on this mega version, it's like, where the hell is that thing coming from? Because I don't know of any mega version of Godzilla. But GXK, the evolved form, I actually like that version because it's like, or everybody's like, why is he pink? And oh my God, it's SJ. It's like, shut the fuck up. You guys don't know shit about the radiation scale. Pink, when it comes to gamma radiation, which is the radiation that Godzilla puts out, pink is the highest and most lethal form of radiation. So when he is going full pink on power mode, he is absolutely the most lethal version of Godzilla. He literally bleeds radiation out of his fucking orifice or his skin, the cracks out of his skin. I mean, I also liked in GXK when they actually showed him feeding on radiation. It's like these creatures feed on radiation. Well, we've never seen it until GXK where you actually see Godzilla sucking up a nuclear reactor dry, and it's like, oh damn, that's awesome. I like that. So when you have a creature that feeds on radiation and you never show it, like, I mean, you see the Mutos feeding on nukes, sure. But then you see, or then they have, you never see Godzilla feeding on radiation. I mean, sure, you set off a nuke in front of his face, thanks to Dr. Sarasawa, but it's like, yeah. Blowing up nukes in their face doesn't show us how they feed off of radiation. It shows that they got a major freaking power up and they can glide in the oceans because I love all those memes where they show a super long leg Godzilla while he's standing up and doing the call to action blast from King of the Monsters. It was funny. But yeah, and then 2023 comes around and we got this guy. Folks, I appreciate the Monsterverse, but they really need a Leland Chi type lore master to straighten things up. Yeah, they really do. Also didn't help that King of the Monsters also came out years late on top of being squashed between a bunch of Disney stuff. Yeah, that's true too. But then this guy came out, and I saw the the first tease for -1, where he grabs on or where he bites into the train, and I'm thinking to myself, all right, whoa, what's going on here? And then I see this Godzilla, and it's like, holy shit. And I go frame by frame with this one, or with the teaser, where he's coming down and bites on the train. And it's like, that is some of the best CG. They definitely improved since Shin Godzilla. This CGI looks pretty damn good. I mean, I saw Godzilla -1, unable to see it at a theater until a little later. And when I saw it, I was like, holy shit. Now, get this, folks. When I said that the original Gojira, that's my favorite one, Godzilla -1 is a close second to almost tied. Then I saw Godzilla -1 minus color. Objectively speaking, -1 minus color is better than -1 and puts that over Gojira 54. It's a true masterpiece of a film. Without the color, you don't even really need the color to watch that Godzilla film. You really don't. There's nothing of any, or we all know that his atomic breath has always been blue. So it really doesn't matter. There's nothing, or colors don't really play or have a poignancy in the film. So the minus color, it just gives you that level of nostalgia, which really works. It really, really works. And so when I see when I saw minus color, -1 sequel, please and thank you. I don't think they need one. I honestly don't think they need a -1 sequel. When's it going to take place? The 60s? Honestly, what would they do with a -1 sequel? Only thing that could have been improved is eye expressions, but overall, -1 Goji is an excellent rendition. Yes. I mean, they had him as the dinosaur version in the beginning of the film, in which he then gets nuked or runs into Bikini Atoll's radiation nuclear blast, and is then further evolved into Godzilla, even further evolved. And I also like how they came up with with the scientific way to sink him. I can't remember the element that they used to sink him, because it made the water around him oxygenate, and he just sank really quickly, and then they raised him really quick. So that he couldn't or so that the pressure in the depths would freeze him. And it's like, oh crap, man. That was actually pretty cool, because when he comes up and he's like, "Ah, son of a bitch." And he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna fucking kill y'all." Oh. I mean, you can literally read that pain off his face, because he's like, "Oh, okay, I'm gonna kill you now." And then Shikishima goes right into his or flies into his mouth and blows it up, and it's like, dude, boom. And it's a great moment, but also it shows the respect that these people had for Godzilla. Unfortunately, the Japanese respect life, folks. They respect the life. They saw that Godzilla was a monster. However, it was one created through nuclear testing. It wasn't through any fault of his own that he was created. So they respected him as an opponent and gave him a salute and a send off. And I really really felt that that was nice. And then you have it so the Shikishima's girlfriend, who was just a friend or early on, but then comes in as basically his girlfriend because he's grown to care for her, as she has grown to care for him, and their adoptive daughter because it was an orphan from all the death from Japan. And she's like, "Is your war finally over?" And yes, for him it is, because Godzilla is finally gone. However, you see the radiation poisoning crawling up her neck or whatever it was. And so there is a problem. And then you also see Godzilla starting to bulge and regenerate, or his remains starting to bulge and regenerate. So it's like, what could be, you know? But then you have Netflix's fucking adaptation. Netflix's dub version. It's like, can this war of yours finally end? And I'm like, do you know what this motherfucker just went through? Obviously not. But seriously, you're still bitching at him after you just, oh my Lord. I didn't like the dub. I really hated that dub. Godzilla -1 does not deserve to have an English dub if Netflix is doing a stupid ass dub like that. I'm sorry, it just doesn't. And so moving on, now that we've covered all the different versions of Godzilla, we're going to cover some of my other kaiju of note. And King of the Monsters version of Mothra, I freaking love. Now, folks, whenever I watch King of the Monsters, I get emotional. That movie has a lot of good emotional bits, man, because I'm seeing these monsters brought to life, not through puppetry, but through CGI artistry that did a good job at creating Ghidorah, Rodan, and Mothra as well as other kaiju like Scylla and Methuselah and Behemoth. But Mothra, there are points in the movie, folks, where the music just matches really well with the situation. And when you see Mothra coming through those clouds like a freaking meteor, like, and just hits Ghidorah with her web attack, her silk attack, that is it just freaking works, man. It shows this is not a Mothra that is that will be easy to kill. And one of the cool things that I had written out is that I had a theory that this Mothra had what's known as genetic memory. Whenever Mothra died, her memories pass on into her future selves, her next generation of self. It is the same Mothra all the time. And Michael Dougherty, after the movie came out, confirmed it. And I'm like, holy crap. I didn't even get to ask that, but it's like, yeah, he actually confirmed that. And I'm like, I actually had one of my theories confirmed before the movie ever came out, but after the movie came out, the theory was actually confirmed. So that was cool. And then in GXK, we get this Mothra. Now, folks, these two Mothras are generationally different, but this Mothra came out before this Mothra. However, this Mothra is ancient and older and more divine, where this one was generational. This version of Mothra, I basically call Divine Mothra because she wasn't born of an egg. She was called forth from the past, I'm guessing, in which Godzilla would still recognize her and she would recognize Godzilla, yes. But this Mothra had a much more divine aura about her, so I called her Divine Mothra. And I really enjoyed her in GXK as well as King of the Monsters. I was very happy. Yeah. I mean, and good to see you, Kamen Rider. I do see you. Thank you for stopping in. And yeah, man, it is amazing. And when I saw her in that, I mean, they wanted to actually use some new kaiju, and it's like, nah, stick with Mothra. Stick with Mothra. But this is basically Mother Mothra. This is the first gen Mothra, I'm guessing, which is a more divine version of Mothra. And I really enjoyed seeing it because this is one, she's like, knock it off. I mean, she knocked Godzilla on his ass in Egypt, which is nice. And it's like, okay, enough of this shit. Knock it off. Pay attention. We have bigger problems right now. And you see Godzilla is like, who the fuck? Oh, Mothra. And you're older. And okay. I'll listen to this. Oh, you got a little thing or a little one of those gnats with you. Right? All right, I'll listen. You got to stay of execution. When it's talking to, or when when he's about to waste Kong in Egypt. And I love how she's like, oh, okay, so you got this little thing here. All right, so yeah, you got this little thing here. Okay, so we're going to Hollow Earth. I trust you. I trust you. You, pointing to Kong, you got to stay of execution. Because Kong, as he's like, Kong needs, Gia told him to go up and get help. And Kong does a freaking challenge roar. He calls out, raising his hand. He's like, come on out and whatnot. And Godzilla's like, you son of a bitch. Coming out, freaking challenging. What? I'm going to kill you. And then you see Kong's like, stop. No, I need you to go. No. And it's like, dude, you called out a challenge to him. He ain't stopping. You know? But back in King of the Monsters, we also get this guy, Rodan. My favorite version of Rodan is from King of the Monsters. As much as I like Rodan in all of the other versions, including the Singular Point, where Rodan was multiple Rodans, but this version I really liked because he was basically a fireborn kaiju. His body is literally, he bleeds magma. And he's an A-bomb on wings. And it's like, holy crap, man. You have any idea how little sleep I've gotten lately? Right? Godzilla versus Kong. Rodan needs to come back pronto. Yeah, he's sleeping in Mount Fuji, apparently. And you get these great moments where when Rodan wakes up, same with Anguirus. Yeah, I wish they would bring Anguirus in because you see the skeleton of Anguirus for like a quick second when the nuke goes off. King of the Monsters. But I thought it was pretty cool. But yeah, man, when it comes to Rodan's what's known as a rogue opportunistic kaiju. In King of the Monsters, he's going after the Argo because the Argo has presented itself as a threat. And I wrote these small moments before the movie came out where it was from the perspective of the monsters. Where Rodan, when he's waking up, he's like, I'm hearing myself, so I'm getting, or what is this? I'm looking around. I don't recognize this place. However, it's changed somewhat. Wait, what is that? And then what are these things? Ow, okay, they hurt. So then he sees the Argo, and it's like, you must be the queen bee of these little stingers. I'm going to kill you now. And that's basically what he was doing. But you also see that Rodan is far more intelligent when he's going up against the Raptor Squadron, the F-35s and the F-22s. And I'm thinking to myself, the way this guy is looking, the way that he is acting, the way that Rodan claps his wings, goes straight upward to stop these stingers, as he would refer to them most likely, because he's not going to call them jets. He's going to call them stingers. So then you see him just coming up and swoops down really quickly. It's like, damn, this dude is not playing around. And then he gets, or all of them are surrounding him, and one pulls away, and he's like, you're not getting away. Barrel roll, bitches. And then he does the barrel roll, and it's like, this is one incredibly smart kaiju. So then he goes up against Ghidorah and gets his shit wrecked. However, he does put up a good fight against Ghidorah, but Ghidorah basically puts him in his place to where he goes and bows to Ghidorah right at his feet. Now, moving on to Ghidorah. Well, no, wait. Yeah, moving on to Ghidorah. Man, Ghidorah had the best introduction in the movie, where they woke him up. I even did a personality bit from that, or from him waking up, and it's, or essentially, we are Ghidorah kind of idea, where they are talking amongst themselves, thinking as if they are one entity, but also separate. The little smirk on Rodan gives me, yes. He's like, really? Nope. Barrel roll. But yeah. Then we get Ghidorah coming up, and O'Shea Jackson Jr., man, you gotta be fucking kidding. It's like, yup. These guys are definitely not ones to fuck with. Because I like how they did it. The tail kind of gives off that rattle-like thing. And Ghidorah is essentially like serpents and dragon, you know? Not ashamed to admit KOT is my favorite at this point. All-powerful evil space dragon, not a brainwashed lackey. Exactly. He's an alpha titan that is not going to submit. But he's also not from the natural order of things, so he's literally tearing the planet's stratosphere apart as he exists there, you know? Oh, that must be outside. I'm hearing that. But yeah, when Ghidorah came out and they're shooting at him, and it's like, oh shit, boom. Man, when I saw the preview of that, or Ghidorah's moments there, and when he unleashes his gravity beams, if you're paying attention with your microphones and stuff, you hear a very thump kind of sound, like a really deep bass boom sound that really fits how it's more of a gravity beam, because that's what they call them, gravity beams that come out of Ghidorah. And I like how each head had a different personality. Now you have Kevin, who's basically was a little too close to the explosives going off when they thought him out. And hold on a moment. Great review so far, dude. Yeah.
Well, these are Kaiju profiles, man. Not a review. But when he comes out, you got the left head, which is kind of zingy because he's like, oh, this is cool. What the frick? Oh, you guys are cute. And you got the center head be like, dude, focus. And you also got the right head like, let's just fucking kill them all. I want to kill. Kill, kill, kill. You know, the right head is extremely wanting or wanton for violence. The left head is kind of slow, and the center head is very destructive. Now, the reason why I say it was because of the thaw out and possibly because of explosives going on nearest to his head, it's because what happens when he regenerates? They tear off the slow head, and it survives later to become Mechagodzilla for GVK. But the slow head, after it regenerates, no longer has that curiosity, no longer has that zaniness. The left head is just for pure, or is also more dangerous, more. It's like, okay, I'm a little bit more clear-headed than I was before. Let's go. So yeah, I paid attention to those kind of things, you know? So then getting to more monsters, let's go into the more Japanese monsters for a bit. With my three favorite kaiju that were not the big four, you know? My three favorite Japanese kaiju. Biollante, as much as the movie was weird, I still thought Biollante was a great creature. There's a lot of potential for Biollante in the Monsterverse. A lot of potential. You also got Space Godzilla, which there's a lot of potential there because Space Godzilla, with all the crystals and stuff, this dude is basically Darkseid from DC in a kaiju form because he's got like Omega beams or Omega beam style atomic breath that can whip all over the place and go around things and whatnot. It's like, oh, dang, dude, I wouldn't want to mess with him. But then you also got this genuine demon motherfucker coming out from the deepest pits of hell. Destroya. I mean, these three, in my opinion, top kaiju that are extremely dangerous. That I wouldn't want to ever be around because, well, I prefer life. I choose life, living, you know? And Biollante, she was great, man. She was truly a fearsome opponent. She got the jump on Godzilla a few times. Space Godzilla, I haven't seen that movie in so many damn years, but he also did a very good job against Godzilla. And then Destroya was the one who nearly killed Godzilla at peak power, where he's at overpower mode, yet he's still getting his shit wrecked. And then and it's like, damn, dude. What do we got in the comments? His movie ain't great, but Space Godzilla is an awesome kaiju. Loved him in the Rulers of Earth comics. Yeah. Now, Space Godzilla, getting back to him, Space Godzilla, him and Biollante have the bigger, and even Destroya, these three, Biollante, Space Godzilla, and Destroya, these three have the top potential to have a different origin, but also make sense in Monsterverse. Because Destroya can come up as from the Oxygen Destroyer, and due to the Oxygen Destroyer killing a lot of, or creating particles and stuff and being detonated in the water and whatnot, it makes sense because, well, that would fit the same origin as his Japanese counterpart. Space Godzilla, we seen a lot of crystalline structures down in Hollow Earth. So there might actually be a crystalline version of Godzilla who absorbed a lot of, or who merged with crystalline structures. He would look a little bit different, sure. I mean, I'm thinking like less humongo giant crystals out of his shoulders and more crystalline down the back. But yeah, as well as Biolante, I would make Biolante rise right out of Las Vegas, because if you look in King of the Monsters, after the Mutos went through Vegas, or after Mother Muto went to Vegas, Vegas overgrew with life, overgrew with, or the radiation it bore made Las Vegas get reclaimed by nature. So I think that it would be cool to see Biolante kind of rise out of the life that was created by the Mother Muto, you know? So these three do have a real potential to come out and really have a role in the MonsterVerse. So if they do another Godzilla movie, I would do one of those three. Or, fuck, have all three of them come out. Let's do an all monsters attack kind of thing, you know? Really would like the Heisei Kaiju to return, as well as taking concepts for scrapped Kaiju like Bagan and Gryphon and putting them on film. Yeah. I mean, there was also in King of the Monsters, there was Gigan was in the concept art. Gigan with a giant freaking buzzsaw in his abdomen. Now, folks, there was this great freaking I follow this Godzilla profile on Instagram, and somebody did a if Godzilla was rated R kind of thing. And I'm like, oh my God, that is so freaking cool. He literally stops Gigan's saw and juts it up out of his body through his head, slicing him in two. He takes that big old beetle one with the horn, rips off the horn, shoves it through his face, through a building, and kills another one as well. It's like, oh, or has Ghidorah saws off one of Ghidorah's heads with atomic, or with just pure energy from his atomic breath, killing that one. It's like, dude, this dude is seriously just slaughter. And it's like, yes, man. Now, Jan de Bont still wants to make his Godzilla film, legendary. Call that man on the phone ASAP. Jan de Bont. What movies do I remember him doing? Because I think that he actually did do a good job with his movies. But getting to the final Kaiju profile before I end it, folks. Shimo. I thought that this was I thought she was a brilliant Kaiju. Now, I read GXK novel. I own the novel. And how you see, or you actually see it turns out that she may have directly or indirectly froze Ghidorah. He did Speed. Yeah, Jan de Bont. Okay, yeah. All right, good. But yeah, getting back to Shimo, how she may have actually or she was responsible for the last Ice Age and Ice Ages before, where she froze Ghidorah allegedly, or where the ice from her Ice Age froze Ghidorah. I'd have to go back and reread the book. But it turns out that she might have actually been the one to completely freeze Ghidorah. And it's like, well, doesn't that kind of contradict what was said before, in which Godzilla was fighting Ghidorah? Because when Godzilla gets up out of the ice in King of the Monsters, you see that there's kind of recognition there. So it's like, shit. Why are you here? You deserve to be dead. I will kill you. Because when Godzilla went after him, he went after him. You see him ripping into the neck, slamming it down like freaking WWF. I mean, he was going, or when he went after Ghidorah, he went hard after Ghidorah, you know? But yeah, Shimo, I liked Shimo because it's like, yes, she was very much manipulated by Scar King. Scar King, I will show more of in the Kong profile because he is a Kong variant. But yeah, Shimo, she is like the biggest Titan on record. She is bigger than Godzilla. I mean, Godzilla standing next to Shimo, there's no comparisons in size. She would tower, or she went on her hind legs, she would tower over Godzilla. Because Godzilla is just about as tall as her on all, or taller, or as tall as her on all fours. Shimo is cool, no pun intended. Nice Anguirus style monster. Yeah, she does kind of have the Anguirus style, doesn't she? But I also do like that she is an elemental. And that her ice powers also do carry trace radiation. Because the radiation is basically the opposite of Godzilla, where Godzilla is more fire radiation. Hers is cold radiation, which is interesting. And I'm looking forward to seeing what they do in the movies to come in the Monsterverse, because now Congress and the governments are basically saying, enough of the shit, we're going to Hollow Earth, we're stopping these fuckers. Because now that you or it's like, I don't think you guys fully understand what you are proposing. You are literally proposing suicide for the entire world. Because if you really think about it, folks, U.S. government military forces going down into Hollow Earth, trying to kill an army of Kongs, backed by a massive ice titan who literally gives off cold or freezing aura, because as you saw her walking, her surroundings were freezing. You people, or if any soldier got anywhere close to Shimo, they would freeze to death immediately. They don't realize just how dangerous she is. And now she's completely bonded and loyal to Kong. And Kong only trusts Gia. So it's like, and I guarantee you, if Gia is going to be like, I don't want humans harming Kong, well, she's going to side with Kong. And the rest of the Iwis down in the Hollow Earth are going to side with Kong. And then Kong and his army are going to slaughter humanity, because they now know that humanity is indeed a greater threat. So, yeah. It just makes sense that these, or if there is going to be a war in the next movie between kaijus and man, humanity's going to lose, you know? Anyway, folks, that is going to be the stream. I can't stay on too much longer because me and my family are going to see my nephew do his soccer practice and whatnot. I like how Shimo looks at Godzilla for permission to free Scar King, and Goji basically shouts, "Do it." I actually have a difference of opinion on that. Provoking kaiju is like poking the bear. You just don't do it, but the people are stupid. Yeah. She was confused. After the crystal was broken, she was basically confused. She's like, what is going on? And then she sees Godzilla's about to fire on her again, and it's like, I don't want that pain. Okay, you motherfucker who enslaved me, you're dead. And she just froze, or she freezes Scar King. So yeah, that makes sense for that. Or that's how I interpreted it. It's like, I'm going to destroy this thing that has harmed me for so long so that that one over there won't hit me again with its fire breath. You know, that's how I did it. But yes, thank you to everybody who tuned in on X and on Twitter, or not Twitter, but YouTube. Alex Kogan, Cayman Rider, Vanya, and others. Thank you so much for those on X. Remember, folks, if you want to support my channel, the best way to support it, because I'm trying to get to 2,000 subs by the end of the year, the best way to do it is to share my content out. If you have anybody who you know who might like my content who hasn't already subbed, please share the links out so that, or my channel links, so that they can find it. Tonight, I will hopefully be on the Barroom podcast where my internet signal will be better. Last week, I don't know what happened. It just kind of shit the bed. But yeah, I will be hopefully better. I know you might not care, but Alec Baldwin has a new show. Yeah, I know the Baldwins is coming out. But yeah, thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. Tonight, Society Reviews channel, 9 p.m. is the Barroom. And I will see you all then. Until then, folks, you all have a wonderful day. And always remember to stay humble. Peace.
Are you done? Are you